Hello again to those of you who saw my earlier intro that was pretty bad and named the absolute wrong game. Tonight I'm going to be playing some Dragon Age Inquisition. I remember what I'm playing this time. My name's Liette, and I'm streaming for Grievance Total Gaming Network, and we're going to be checking out some character creation and the intro to the game, which you've seen a few times. What I'd like to do, though, is answer questions about classes that anybody might have who's watching tonight, and some questions about the actual world of Dragon Age itself, because it's pretty involved, and I'm a nerd, and I've read up a lot about it, so as much as I can answer, I will. One caveat, though, I haven't gotten through Dragon Age 2 because I didn't like it very much, and I generally know what happens, so can fill you in there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the lovely intro screen, which I find quite pretty. You're probably going to hear a lot of the music through my speakers, so if it's super duper loud, holler at me and I will fix it. Let me alter that a little bit so that it's not quite so heavy duty loud. There we go. Cool. So when you go to start the game, obviously if you've already been playing, you can hit continue like we have right here, and I've been playing for a while. My main character is now at level 15. And I suppose fair warning as well, there might be some spoilers this evening. Sorry. I'll try to tell you when there might be one. So, we're gonna go ahead and start a new game. Woo, very pretty. Alright, because I'm a chick, I will be playing a chick. I tend to like humans. So far I've played an elven archer, which is pretty sweet. Haven't tried the warriors, haven't tried the mage, but I'd like to try a mage, so we're gonna do that this evening. Woohoo! Since this is just a tutorial and all that, I'm gonna put it on easy because dying is kind of embarrassing, and I've done enough of that this evening already, so off we go on casual. Woohoo! You get a nice little background spiel whenever you start a new character, and I'll just read this one off to you because, hey, it's nifty, and hopefully I'll pronounce the name right. So, born to the Trevelyan noble family of Ostwick in the Free Marches, you were originally intended for a life of privilege until magical abilities surfaced at a young age, and you were forced into a life of confinement within Ostwick's circle of magi. Protected but stifled, educated but isolated, the circle would have been your entire future had the mages not rebelled against Chantry rule. Like it or not, you had to fight for your life against Templars hunting down all free mages. You joined the delegation of mages attending a Chantry conclave in hopes of negotiating peace with the Templars. It didn't go well. You could probably figure that out given the giant green bomb that just happened on the screen, but they just like to emphasize that it went poorly. So off we go. Do I want to import a custom world state? When they launched Inquisition, they added a really nifty feature called Dragon Age Keep. This lets you go through and generally tell the game what you want it to know from the past two games and what you did. So that way you don't have to go through and play Origins or Dragon Age 2 again, which is also really sweet. So I went through and general rundown in Dragon Age Origins. Spoiler alert, woo! My warden was a female human, which made her noble, as she was a rogue. Ended up handling everything the normal way. Morrigan completed the Dark Ritual with Alistair, and my warden and Alistair are officially king and queen, woohoo, because I like happy endings. So off we go with that. Dragon Age 2, basically Hawk-sided with the mages. Anders is alive somewhere. Woohoo. So I'm going to go ahead and import what I already had because, hey, that's my canon. As I understand it, standard canon for Dragon Age is that the warden in Origins was a Dalish rogue of some sort. So, pretty cool. So it asks you to confirm the custom world state. Yes. Yeah, and then you have a loading screen. They have nifty little tarot cards with information on each loading screen, which I really like. It keeps it interesting. Usually I don't have enough time to read them, but of course tonight everything's running a little slow, so I have time to read it. This one is about your character's attributes. They are strength, dexterity, magic, cunning, willpower, and constitution. Woohoo. You primarily affect these through your armor and your weapons and your accessories. I'll show you all of these in a few. So, it's worth noting for you people that like character customization like I do, all of your characters, regardless of what class you're playing, start in that same outfit. And even if you're a mage, you're apparently in metal armor, so cool. When you go to customize your toon, you can pick from pre-mades, which are pretty neat. They have a good variety of styles. I'm going to go with this last one. So you can either select it and roll with it, or you can hit customize. And I'm sure some of y'all have seen this on YouTube, but I haven't seen where they give you what happens with the profile when you affect certain sliders. So I'm going to show you that because it is pretty neat. You can turn your character completely around to check out hair or whatever else suits your fancy. This gets a little bit buggy when you go to adjust sliders but move your character around. Anybody who's played The Sims in any iteration recently, 2, 3, 4, has probably seen such detailed customization options. This game in particular, though, takes it in a different way as far as controls go, which, again, I'll show you. So you have your general features that you can adjust, your skin tone, complexion, eye color, all of that, but you can really get down to the nitty-gritty in further menus. So my gal's gonna have a tan, and the general face shape is pretty cool. This one's right in the middle, but the biggest thing that face shape adjusts, aside from width, is really the profile, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna show you a few of these. So you see the jawline really altered. The face literally became a little more jutting as far as going out. This really altered the chin and the nose, so you have more of a concave profile. And then very square. So, neat. And you can also see these changes as you go back through and how it affects the rest of the face. So it's a really, really, really strong customization tool just to get a general shape going on. And I didn't show you the profiles on these. And we're back to the middle, which is where I'm going to say, because, hey. Complexion. They added some really cute things with this. I have to hand it to them. You can have freckles. I don't know of other games where you have really cute freckles, so I got a kick out of this, and it made me happy. So let's find some freckles, because it's cool. My chick is going to be a freckled ginger. Haha, yay, we've got light freckles there. Nifty. Alright, hair. David Gator is one of the main writers for the Dragon Age series, and one of his blog questions was about character hair. It's always interesting to see producers and writers' reactions to hair. And they often get asked, why isn't there long hair? What's going on? Well, it takes a lot to animate long hair, and this game is absolutely stunning. You really don't need long hair to really enjoy how your character looks. That's just my opinion, but a lot of people have complained, oh, there's not enough hairstyles. I like what they have. They did a really good job. So I'm going to go through each of them and show you what you got. So you can be bald. Woohoo! You can be almost bald. Also woohoo. You can have a little bit of fuzz. A really poofy, kind of mullety looking one, but that's okay, because, hey, still looks cool. This is pretty popular in a lot of screenshots that I see of people's characters, because, hey, there's more hair. Cool. I find this one fun because you actually see it on an NPC later. Got little bangs and a little bit tucked under there, which is pretty. And this is the style I tend to use a lot. I can't imagine why. But it works pretty well. This one's pretty neat and reminds me of Mockingjay coming up. You see, oh, what's the actress's name? Is it Emily Dormer? Anyway, she has a hairstyle very similar to this. Blown back, but short. Kind of some bangs, still short. This one's really cute too, the pixie cut. I love it. I haven't made it work very well on any of my characters, but I really like it. This one's just kind of short, has a big part. This one has some shave going on. I'm just going to keep it at this angle so you can see what's going on in the next few. Cute bun. You see that on one of the NPCs. Pulled back. This one's very beautiful in back. I do need to show you that one. So pretty hair. And I know I'm a big hair nerd, so any guys watching, I'm sort of sorry. But this is darn fun, and I could spend hours on this character creator. It's amazing. Alright, so you see what kind of hair you have. I'm going to go for the popular option, which is that one. Woohoo, pretty. So I told you I was going to make a redhead, so off we go to find the red hair. But let's look at all the different colors of hair one can have. You can do pretty super duper dark red hair. You can have totally white hair, and check out the eyelashes. It even changes the eyelashes. That's pretty sweet. So you can have gray hair, black hair, all of your standard hair colors. Pretty honey color, beautiful blonde color that I could never ever pull off in real life, but it's okay. And ta-da, very, very, very red hair. You have two different...
How much is this going to cost me exactly?
There you go. Two different voice choices. One has a British accent, one has an American accent. A lot of people think that the British accent is absolutely stunning, which I agree. The voice actress did a really, really, really nice job, and that's what I typically end up choosing. But I'm going to go back and forth between these so that you can kind of hear what they sound like, because it's a huge difference. It really, really is, and does affect how your character really comes across to you, the player, I think. So we're going to test the British accented voice a few times.
Everything you've heard? Completely true. You leave me no choice. You leave me no choice.
And she's going to repeat herself a few times.
As long as the job gets done, I don't care about the rest.
I have yet to hear my character say that. Anyway, let's try the American accent.
As long as the job gets done, I don't care about the rest.
Big difference. Big.
I just hope I can help. I just hope I can help. Everything you've heard? Completely true.
There we go. I happen to like the British accent because, hey, it's pretty.
I just hope I can help.
Alright, so we're going to go through and just look at some other options of what we can do. For those of you who just like a generally pretty tune and like to make a speed run through character creation, say you just got the game and oh my god, you're itching to get it, put all the stuff in the middle and you get a pretty tune. That's my best advice. Alright, so hair and ears. You'll notice on these option menus that you get this nifty box that you can then manipulate. This was obviously a big nod to those people playing on a console because you just scooted around with your little console, what do you call that thing? Joystick thingy. I don't play console games, sorry. Alright, so on a PC, you just shift this around. You can tell I'm making her ears really ridiculously big, and your X-axis and your Y-axis do different things. So, in this case, Y makes her ears bigger or smaller, and X makes them shift out or in. So, I'm gonna keep her ears kind of tucked in, and not huge, but not teeny tiny either. Cool. Ear position. Sometimes things really interact as far as these menus go. So you notice the ear size affected the angle. Ear position is going to kind of affect that too. So as it moves up and down the actual head, you'll feel like the angle changes as well. And then you can also make them poke out more literally with the X angle here. So lots and lots of detail you can get into here. Anyway, I'm putting it in the middle. Woohoo! Earlobe size. I really don't care. It's already in the middle. Nifty. But you can make her earlobes really, really long or not. This one does not have a y-axis. It's either long earlobes or not long earlobes. Keeping it in the middle. Ta-da! Cheekbones. I have trouble with cheekbones when I'm making a character that I actually like to look at. You can make them either really, 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 really large. And there's a character in the game that I'm sure that y'all have seen, Vivienne, who has very, very prominent cheekbones. She's absolutely stunning. But I can't make it stunning on any of the PCs that I make, so just not for me. So the y-axis here affects the height of the cheekbone, as you can see, and x affects how wide they are. So this is a case where I'm keeping it in the middle. Ha! Cheek shape. This will affect right through here on your character. So, how full her cheeks are. But you can make a cute little round face that way, or a very gaunt looking character. And I'm going to move her around a little bit. holy moly, there's no fat on this chick. It's kind of creepy, and she had a lot of lipo on her face. So, no, not cool. We're not going to do that. Again, I'm going to leave it in the middle, though. Haha. Because you get that generally pretty character who's not extreme in any particular way. Brow size. That is literally going to affect the brow on this character. Oop, and there goes the bugginess. There we go. Alright, so brow size. This will affect where your eyebrows literally sit, and then the x-axis will protrude or bring it back. In this case, they typically don't like to have a very protruding eyebrow because why? And you need to look at her head on to actually see what you're doing to the eyebrows. So there you go. She can look really surprised or not. So this is another in the middle. Forehead. I'm gonna turn her again and bug it out again. Alright, forehead literally affects the forehead. That's pretty much all it does. The y-axis here is actually bringing in her forehead, or not. I'll show you that in a second. But for now we're looking at X, which literally brings it in and out. Gonna leave it in the middle because, hey, rule of thumb. So y-axis, you can see that it squishes her forehead. Again, right about in the middle is just fine. Ta-da! Alright, eyes. This gets really interesting really fast because they have a variety of eye shapes. Default's very pretty, and I have to sit there and look away for a bit and then look back whenever I mess with the eyes because it can really affect the entire face and how your character looks, and if it looks weird, you go until you make some adjustments. So brace yourself as I go through these. Yeah, whoa, okay. They're really high up and now they're at an angle. What? And now that doesn't look totally normal either. Holy moly, alright, crap. So you go back through each of the eye shapes. That one you can make really pretty, believe it or not. Not going to give you a demo because it takes a while. But there you go. Lots of eye shapes to work with, and then you can adjust from there. I'm going to use these because this you're going to see on an NPC that's pretty famous. Eye size. Eye size does some interesting things. Vertical literally affects the vertical shape of the eye, and horizontal here literally can give you really big eyes. So if you want a bug-eyed character, upper right-hand corner is the way to go, baby. In this case, though, I'm going to keep her right about here. Ta-da! Eye position, exactly what you think, to an extent. The y-axis will bring them up or down on the face, which in this particular set of eyes, I think, makes a big difference. But the x-axis is really trippy. At least in my opinion, it's really trippy. I've also got that fun turning bug. When you adjust this, you can sink the eyes back in the head or not. So you can either have them really pop out, which looks weird, or way sunken back in her face. Really big proponent of keep it in the middle, because if it's way out here, you look odd, and if it's way back here, oh my gosh. So there we go. I'm going to turn her back around. And I'm also going to drop them just a little bit more. Ta-da. Eye rotation and spacing. This makes a huge difference too. You can rotate them using the y-axis here, and then your spacing obviously on X. So nifty. These are also really, really low, and it's tripping me out again. Alright, up here. There we go, lady. Alright. Eyebrow style. I've never seen this many eyebrow styles in a game, and I'm not quite sure why they added some that they added, because they're really hideous. So let's start from the beginning. No eyebrows. That's weird. At least on this character, it's weird. If you don't like eyebrows, all you. That's cool, but I like eyebrows. So, off we go. Somewhat overplucked. Very pretty and styled. Very overplucked. Little more natural. Kind of sparse. Yeah, yep, really grew those. Really plucked those. Oh wow, looking for a style there. Something bad has happened to you. What? Okay, you're halfway there. Oh my. Yep. Okay. Pretty big, not bad. Not bad either. Huh. Hi, Frida. Not bad. Also okay. and very teeny. So I'm pretty opinionated on eyebrows, as you can tell. But wow, some of these made me go, why? Why has this happened? So you'll pick what works for you, but obviously not my first choice. Those either, or those. And I suppose that some of them would work on a Canary, or perhaps a dwarf that you would like to look a little more rough and tumble, but oh my. So we're going to go with these because, hey, she's a mage. She doesn't have that much time set aside to just look pretty. Alright, eyebrow position. This is another slider. It's not one of the big box adjusters with the X and Y axis because really it's just height, so why have all of that? We're going to bring these up a little bit. Not that much. Woohoo! Alright, eyelash style. Eyelash style is pretty neat. We have a lot of different eyelashes in this game, and you can't see them very well, so you kind of have to play with it in this zoomed in setting to see what you're actually doing. Typically they just get shorter or longer as you go through, or completely absent in some cases. And I'm going to start over from the beginning here. So there's no eyelashes. A little bit, little bit, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. Oh, goodbye. A lot. A whole lot. I'm going to leave it at a whole lot because, hey, it typically looks decent. And I have seen a lot of commentary about this outer and inner iris color. That's pretty fun to play with. You can give them any eye color that you want. And you can combine colors. So in this case, we're going to make her have pretty lilac eyes. Oh, fancy. And then the inner iris color. You can make it really trippy because you can give her chartreuse. Inner irises. Oh my. And that's a little light and a little bit iffy for me, so we're gonna darken that up. Alright. Cool. A little more natural there. Nose. There's a lot you can do with the noses, and they really trip me out as well because it's a huge difference on your character's face. So we're gonna start at nose 1. I'm also gonna put it at a slight angle so you can see what's going on the bridge, as well as the tip, and we'll flip it around. If there's anything that you'd like me to play with a little bit more, just holler at me. Happy to back up or however you would prefer. Noses get pointy or not as you go through. And believe it or not, all of these can be made to look really good. So it just depends on how you want to start out with a nose. I think this is what we had started with. And you can adjust all sorts of things going on with the nose, from the bridge to the tip, all of it. It's crazy how much you can do. So I'm going to start with just the first nose here. It's easy. Nose size. This you can adjust literally how far out it goes in the profile. Oops, sorry. So we're going to keep that right about here because why have the nose poking out too much? And then your x-axis, adjust the width. So you can do lots of things with that. You can give her an itty bitty teeny tiny nose, which is kind of creepy. Or you can give her an average size nose. Again, in the middle. That big old recommendation about the middle. Alright, nose position. You can move it up and down her face by an extreme extent. So again, in the middle is pretty cool. And as far as the x-axis on this one, hold still, ma'am. Brings it in its entirety back into her face, which is pretty neat. So if you really want them to have a nose that is super duper prominent in profile, you can totally do it. Again, middle, middle, middle. Ta-da. Bridge size. The bridge of your nose is through here. They let you do a lot with this. So, have the turn-in bug. In this case, where did it go? Okay, this is not a slider where you see anything from profile. Nifty. Whoop. Alright, so you can adjust it and pinch it between her eyes. Or down lower on her nose. So, this is another case, keep it in the middle, whatever. Bridge position. This will affect where her nose starts to turn in, essentially, in profile. So, this affects depth on the x-axis, and the y-axis affects just how much of a big dent it is. So, you can really, really give her a broken looking nose, which is quite amazing. I'm gonna leave it in the middle. Go figure. Alright, tip size. I'm not going to play with this too much because, I mean, really, it's the tip of her nose. You can either make it pop out or not. And, okay, big whoop. She has a nose. It's a cute nose. Nose tip position. That is pretty neat. If you really want a huge honker, you can affect this too. And affect the angle and all that, and make it just not attractive, if you would like. Totally up to you. Nostril size is exactly what you think. It also affects, though, where your nostrils are, and it doesn't specify that, but I suppose that's the only slider on which to put nostril positioning. So, middle, yeah. Because if you have them way up high, it looks like she's going, yeah, fix it, thank you. And you can have them down low. So there we are. Broken nose. This is a neat thing that they added. Kind of like the broken nose. Lower left-hand corner means no broken nose at all. Upper right-hand corner means really broken nose. Really broken. Somebody hit her hard. And you can adjust it in any number of ways between, but I'm gonna decide that she has not been punched recently. And mouth and jaw. Exactly what you think. Mouth shape. They have a big variety. I really liked this. And it's pretty cute to give you a variety to start with. So, gonna go through them real quick. They go from pursed lips and very full lips to slightly parted lips, which is a neat look for your character, I gotta say. And I tend to like those a lot. Width, exactly what you think, but it also affects the width of the upper lip. So, in this case, you can give them really, really, really wide mouths or not so wide. Suddenly she reminded me of Hilary Swank for a second. Anyway, there we go. Looks good to me. Mouth position, obviously you can move it up or down. And what does the X slider do? Right, makes it more prominent in the profile. Oop. Sorry, turning bug. So you can move it in or out in the actual jaw, and up and down. So, nifty. On the forums, they had a really, really good version of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. I was pretty impressed with that. Lip thickness, exactly what you think it would do, and this one, y-axis affects the vertical thickness, and x affects pretty much everything else, which is nifty. So there we go. She has a cute little pout. Jawline is going to make a big difference on the face. You can either raise or lower it, and then make it wider, or not so wide. Let's see that from full-on view. So, straight in the middle, as I typically recommend for those of you who want to do a speed run. Very normal. And then you can have a very, very heart-shaped face by doing this, or a very square face. Either or, but it really, really does affect the entirety of your character's face. It's pretty neat. Jaw size is pretty cool. You can give her a really big jaw or not, and you can really, really, really add to the width this way. Or take it away. Whatever works for you. So you can have a very petite jaw, or a very slim and long jaw, or a very wide and thick one. Anyway, neat. Jaw size and jowls. Jowls are this area on her face. And I found it kind of hard to figure out what they were trying to adjust when I played with this the first couple times. And it's pretty subtle. I have to hand it to them. It's subtle. And you're not going to notice a whole lot full on either, but it's a detail they gave you, should you want to play with it. And it really just affects where the cheekbones attach on this particular face. So, keeping it right there. Chin size, exactly what you think. You can either raise it, lower it, and make it thinner or wider. Gonna leave it the way it was. The chin shape really, really affects the profile. So you can either bring it out and have a more jutting chin, or back in and have a very recessed chin. So it also affects overbite and underbite quite a bit. And double chin is exactly what you think it is, whether they have quite a bit of chin going on underneath their jaw. that's cool. I hadn't noticed that it affects the angle of the chin to an extent. Huh, cool. Alright, I'm gonna leave it there. Don't need a double chin. Adam's apple I think is more applicable on a male character, but let's see what it does on a female. I've never messed with this. Okay, it literally adds or takes away an Adam's apple. Neat. Cool. And let's go back. Scars and tattoos. They give you lots of options for this, and it's really cool. So scars, you can pick what scar you want. And again, there's huge variety here. They really let you beat your character up. Where'd they put that one? I'm guessing it's under her hair up here. Can't see it. And when you look at these, it's really ingrained in their face. That's pretty hardcore. Gotta hand it to them. Dang. Poor ladies. Ouch. All of this just kind of makes me hurt a little bit. I don't know about y'all. Ow. Anyway, so you can be totally beat up. Just like that. There is a companion that you can get that is excessively beat up. And is very neat to look at. So I'm going to give her that scar just to kind of show you what happens with scar intensity. So you can adjust that and either make it extremely, extremely light or very prominent. And it looks like that just happened, and holy moly, ow. You can also affect where it sits on the face. So you can move it back or forward. And then vertical position, same deal. Up and down, and it's a significant difference. So if you're trying to make a character that, say you're pulling from D&D or something like that, you can really, really customize exactly what has happened to them as far as scars on their face. Tattoos. Tattoos are pretty neat in this game too. This is quite light, but as we go through, I'm gonna make the color something that we can really, really see. I hope. Maybe? Okay. Okay, and I had forgotten, as you go through the tattoos, they also go through intensity levels. So on the initial click, you won't see them very well, but you see it start to show up here. And as you go through, you'll have the most intense versus completely gone, or almost completely gone. So you see it here. I'm just going to show you a few of the tattoos that you have available. Now let me pick a more prominent color so that you can see it a little better. Ta-da, blue. You can see blue. And a lot of these remind me of the Dalish tattoos that pull in the marks on the chin too, so it's neat that they've added all of this. And a lot of these are very striking, so I'm just going to go back through again and show you the change in intensity for each of the styles that you have available. There we go. Can't say that I'm a big tattoo fan on any of my tunes, so I'm not going to leave tattoos on. But makeup. Makeup gets pretty detailed here too. So eyeshadow color, you can really make it pop, and very intense. So in her case, I'm going to give her a pretty brown eyeshadow because, hey, we're being dull. You can also affect the intensity. So if you want it to be really, really, really intense or really not, you can. There's been a lot of feedback on the BioWare forums that the makeup gets really heavy really fast. So if you're going to make a female toon, brace yourself that it can be really, really, really heavy looking after character creation. You can alter under eye color. I'm gonna go with that brown again because it's easy. Under brow color is pretty neat too. So I'm just gonna keep it consistent. Under brow intensity. They're literally talking about right here. So you can make that either intense or not. I usually leave it at not. Alright, eyelash color. This is pretty cool. There's also a bug in the character creator for, at least that I have noticed, the eyelash color. The second to last one you pick is the one that you see. I don't know why. It is what it is. So if you wanted blonde eyelashes, you'd have to go back and forth. There are the blonde eyelashes. I tend to stick with good old black eyelashes. Ta-da, there we go. Eyeliner color. You'll notice I double click on whatever color I end up wanting it to eventually be. It's because of that weird bug. So, black eyeliner. You can set the intensity on the eyeliner too. And you can see the subtle changes along the eye, just like it's described. Alright, you can also change the blush color, which can get really funny really fast, because you can give her blue blush, you can give her green blush. Oh my, as many people would say. So, I'm gonna leave it at kind of a peach color. You can also affect the intensity. High or low. Lip color, that does make a big difference. And you can make it really intense or not. So say you wanted a very dark color, just pick a really dark color. I'm going for shades of brown or peach on this because it tends to look decent. You can alter the intensity. In this case, it was a light color, so the game is interpreting it as white, which is funky. Or no intensity at all, and that's just the natural shade. So I'm gonna leave it at no intensity, quite frankly. Lip liner color, you can affect that too, but I haven't noticed a huge change on any of the tunes that I've done this on, so yeah. Lip shine. Lip shine's pretty cool. You can make their mouths look matte, or like they've just licked their lips. Which, given my tune has a slightly open mouth, I'll leave it right about here. Okay, off we go, and that's how you make a tune in the character creator, and you can take hours and hours on this, like I have several times. So I'm gonna go ahead and accept the changes. Your default character name is Evelyn, so it's Evelyn Trevelyan, I believe, as a human. So gonna go with Evelyn. Nifty. I'm sorry, I missed a question. Can you share characters with a code or anything? I think you could do that in Mass Effect for appearance, that is. No, I have not seen any option to share your character appearance settings. Every single time you start a new game, you have to go through and make your character again and again and again. Which is fine. A lot of people have suggested taking screenshots as you go through of exactly where your sliders sit. We're going to get a lot of voiceover from characters in game at this point, so I'm going to shush, and I'll be typing at you a bit.
Tell me why we shouldn't kill you now. The Conclave is destroyed. Everyone who attended is dead. Except for you.
So, in previous playthroughs, I usually say, that's really horrible. But, because I'm interested, I'm just gonna shut up.
Explain this.
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I don't know what that is, or how it got there.
You're lying!
We need her, Cassandra.
Alright, so as the pop-up says, your dialogue choices are typically attached to some kind of emotion, and you'll get a cute little icon indicating what that emotion is. So you can either be confused, defensive, really upset, or kind of angry. I've never played kind of angry, so I'm going to see what happens when you go with kind of angry. If you say all those people, which I typically do, you're a sad person, and you're lamenting that lots of people died in the big old green explosion that you saw at the beginning. But my character's going to be cranky. She's a redhead, so let me go.
Whatever you think I did, I'm innocent.
Do you remember what happened? How this began?
I remember running. Things were chasing me, and then a woman?
A woman?
She reached out to me, but then...
Go to the forward camp, Liliana. I will take her to the rift.
What did happen?
It will be easier to show you. We call it the Breach. It's a massive rift into the world of demons that grows larger with each passing hour. It's not the only such rift, just the largest. All were caused by the explosion at the Conclave.
An explosion can do that?
This one did. Unless we act, the breach may grow until it swallows the world. Each time the breach expands, your mark spreads, and it is killing you. It may be the key to stopping this, but there isn't much time.
So, those of you who played Dragon Age 2 will recognize this character, Cassandra Pentagast, and you might have expected her to be just as grumpy as she initially comes off. I'm gonna give you a spoiler. I think she's really freaking awesome as you get to know her better, so just take her with a grain of salt because she's pretty cool. So you often have the option in dialogues to investigate and ask more questions. So I'm going to ask her how this weird green stuff on my hand could help in this situation.
You say it may be the key. To doing what?
Closing the breach. Whether that's possible is something we shall discover shortly. It is our only chance, however. And yours.
Alright, at this point she's less mad, so...
I understand.
Then...
I'll do what I can. Whatever it takes.
Second playthrough, but fifth or sixth time on the intro.
They have decided your guilt. They need it. The people of Haven mourn our most holy, divine Justinia, head of the Chantry. The Conclave was hers. It was a chance for peace between mages and Templars. She brought their leaders together. Now they are dead. We lash out like the sky, but we must think beyond ourselves, as she did. Until the breach is sealed. There will be a trial. I can promise no more. Come. It is not far.
Where are you taking me?
Your mark must be tested on something smaller than the breach.
Alright, at this point you finally get to take over your character. I'm gonna look around a bit because the game is really, really stunningly beautiful, and it's one of the first things that people notice that, wow, it's pretty. So, for those of you who haven't played the game yet, this is a big, gaping green hole in the sky, and it's really bad news. For those who might just be hopping in and checking out this stream about Dragon Age Inquisition. The hole in the sky is a big old rift into the Fade. For anybody who doesn't know Dragon Age lore, the Fade is where mages and people who are magically inclined can go when they sleep. The Fade houses demons and spirits and can be really, really dangerous because demons often can take over mortals. It's especially dangerous for mages because they are naturally inclined and to attract these kind of beings because they have that connection to them through their magic. So this is really bad, and this hasn't happened before in the Dragon Age universe, and holy moly. So you can look around and check out your tune. You can look at these stunningly gorgeous icicles hanging off of the structure. You can check out Miss Cassandra, who constantly has that very concentrated look on her face, but that's about right for her. So, we're going to move around. Standard controls, not a big deal. Off we go.
Open the gate. We are heading into the valley.
Alright, you'll notice you have a mini-map on the lower left-hand corner of the screen. The eye indicates where to go for your story. Now, you're not stuck just going that way through this. It's pretty cool. You can move around and not follow the roadway. If you want to hop over the fence, you should be able to hop over the fence, but I'm kind of sucking out on hopping over the fence. Come on, here we go. Yay! She is a mage after all, so I guess she's not that acrobatic, guys. Sorry. You'll notice the fancy schmancy frozen stuff over here. The trees even are gorgeous. They did a really good job. And, oh, by the way, there are nasty little comets of green stuff coming down from the hole in the sky. So, yeah, bad news. Nobody wants to get hit with a comet of green stuff.
The pulses are coming faster now. The larger the breach grows, the more rifts appear, the more demons we face.
How did I survive the blast?
They said you stepped out of a rift, then fell unconscious. They say a woman was in the rift behind you. No one knows who she was. Everything farther in the valley was laid waste, including the Temple of Sacred Ashes. I suppose you'll see soon enough.
Alright, so off we go. Things are looking bad. I apologize if I'm missing any questions, guys. Just type them again, and I will get it. My bad. And like I said in responding to a question earlier, this is about my 5th or 6th time actually playing the intro. But if I were to continue, this would be my 2nd full playthrough.
Behind me.
Alright, battle stance. I find this hysterical. Mages get all down and dirty in this game, and they're ready to shuffle around. It's pretty funny. And yeah, the voiceovers can be really low. I also have the volume turned down for the game itself so that it's not reverberating through both the game and my microphone, so I'm sorry if you can't hear too well. That's why I have subtitles on. Hopefully you can check it out that way. So, you can left click and hold it to attack, and the attack animations are pretty sweet. I have to hand it to them. They did a good job. You'll notice that's a demon. They're not nice, and so we want to kill them before they kill us. You can also move your camera around during combat to look at different things, so just looking at the animation is pretty cool. You have a lot going on as a mage, and you're not just hanging out there going pew pew.
It's over.
Drop your weapon. Now!
Okay, I've never had this option before. I've always played somebody that actually needs a pokey thing. So, I'm gonna see what happens when you say I don't need a staff.
Do you really think I need a staff to be dangerous?
Is that supposed to reassure me?
I haven't used my magic on you yet.
You're right. You don't need a staff, but you should have one. I cannot protect you. I should remember you agreed to come willingly. Take these potions. Maker knows what we will face.
You'll notice that now
Where
your
are
little...
soldiers?
Oop.
At the forward camp, or fighting. We are on our own for now.
They just keep talking. You'll notice that you now have potions to use should you get beat up too much, which will likely happen. Because, hey, you're gonna get beat up in this game. So we're gonna continue on. And I mentioned earlier that I think Cassandra's a really cool character. You'll notice that so many times she will react really brashly and then go back and correct herself. Now I will say, just a minor critique of the game, the inventory system is really klutzy for a PC game. So you have to go through the different categories of stuff, and then you have to figure out what you actually want to put on and double click it, and it just seems a little excessive to me. So that's my only big critique. So when you're done, you have to go back. Say you wanted to look at weapons, you'd have to go through that, then go back, and it's just tedious. Anyway, so off we go. Again, it's still really, really, really pretty, and if I didn't want to walk along this road, I could just hop up here and go check out this tree and stuff, and look at all the rocks. That's pretty. And hey, there's something to loot, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna loot that. You'll notice your companions just kind of follow along wherever you're going, which is helpful. Alright, abilities. You have your standard old hotbar along the lower left-hand section. And you have your hotkeys, so you can go kaboom that way. I really like the spell animations, they're really cool. Here's a cooldown time. If you want to get to your next enemy, you just hit tab. So there we go. A lot of players complain about the loot system too, because you actually have to physically run up and get your stuff. I think they're kind of lazy, but whatever. They were used to Dragon Age Origins, where you could be within, say, 10 feet and click on something and then be good to go. Alright, you'll notice up here, there's a green floating dude. That thing is ranged, and they're kind of mean, and then there is your regular old melee guy. So I'm gonna hit the ranged dude with some lightning, because I don't like him.
Up on the hill.
And I'm gonna keep hitting him with my staff, because I'm nifty. Okay, and now he's dead, because we're playing on casual. Because I wanted to show you stuff and not die. And everything's dead. Woohoo! You do have a button that lets you look around for loot. The default is V for view. And it just puts out this little circle around you, and it'll go beep if there's something for you to pick up. It makes it a lot easier. As pretty as this game is, sometimes it's really hard to figure out what in the world is on the ground, because there's already a lot there. Like dead people and bricks. So we're continuing on our merry, merry way.
They're falling from the breach.
Yep, that stinks a little bit. Alright, we have more people to kill. Well, they're not people, excuse me, they're demons. So I'm gonna lightning that one. Goodbye, demon. Alright, now if you just keep holding down left click, your character's gonna find the next thing to hit, and they're gonna hit it, and sometimes that's really not convenient. Now as a mage, you can't like move around when you're hitting things. That's a little different from what I'm used to. I typically play an archer, and you can walk around and shoot things. That's kinda nice. But apparently mages don't do that, they just hang out in their angry battle stance, and they whip their staff around. That was a really bad joke. Okay.
We're getting close
Continuing
to the
on.
rift. You can hear the fighting.
Who's fighting?
You'll see soon. We must help them.
Alright, so we have some trashed bridges. You can see there's a lot of infrastructure throughout these mountains, but It's getting beat up really hardcore because of this big old green rift in the sky. So here's a fight we're gonna go join in. Now I really do like that lightning spell. You hit a lot of people when you hit that lightning spell. All at once. Just mass mayhem. That's pretty cool. Hi, Varric.
Quickly! Before more come through!
What did you do?
I did nothing. The credit is yours.
So you can make different dialogue choices. None of them are wrong.
I closed that thing. How?
Whatever magic opened the breach in the sky also placed that mark upon your hand. I theorized the mark might be able to close the rifts that have opened in the breach's wake. And it seems I was correct.
Meaning it could also close the breach itself.
Possibly. It seems you hold the key to our salvation.
Good to know. Here I thought we'd be ass deep in demons forever. Varric Tethras, rogue, storyteller, and occasionally unwelcome tag-along.
Alright, most people will remember Varric from Dragon Age 2. He's the companion that most people had the most fun with, and he's a big personality, so it's pretty sweet to see him back. He's commenting on his crossbow, kind of funny, so...
That's a nice crossbow you have there.
Ah, isn't she? Bianca and I have been through a lot together.
You named your crossbow Bianca.
Of course. And she'll be great company in the valley.
Absolutely not. Your help is appreciated, Varric, but...
Have you been in the valley lately, Seeker? Your soldiers aren't in control anymore. You need me.
Ugh.
My name is Solus, if there are to be introductions. I am pleased to see you still live.
He means I kept that mark from killing you while you slept.
And I'm being asked, I don't have a nose. No, I really do have a nose, I promise. I'm guessing my camera's just kind of not noticing it because it's seriously there. So, sorry, it might be super duper bright or something, and I'm a pale person, so oops.
Then I owe you my thanks.
Thank me if we manage to close the breach without killing you in the process. Cassandra, you should know, the magic involved here is unlike any I've seen. Your prisoner is a mage, but I find it difficult to imagine any mage having such power.
Understood. We must get to the forward camp quickly.
Well... Bianca's excited.
Yeah, I love how we're
This way,
referencing the
down the bank.
crossbow
Road
like
ahead
it's a
is
person.
blocked.
We must move quickly.
You can do a lot of jumping in this game, which is pretty nifty. You can jump on this and jump on that and fall off of it and into the river where they don't actually want you to go. But hey, there's a dead body that I can totally loot now. A lot of people don't know that the spacebar or whatever you have your jump button assigned to will pick up all.
Demons ahead!
Oh no!
Brought me now, Seeker?
Alright, so I'm gonna select a ranged one because those are easier for a mage to take out. I'm gonna throw some fire at it. Alright, tac cam. I don't like the tactical camera. I don't. Sorry, BioWare. It launches you into this very high up third person view. You can move your mouse around to be able to see a little better. But in general, you're going to find yourself always kind of looking straight over your characters. You use your standard move buttons to move around the battlefield and look at different stuff, and you can turn around and look at things that way too. I just find it distracting. Sorry, just pause the bloody game and tell your characters what you need them to do. It's not that hard. Anyway, that's my opinion. Sorry. So I'm going to zoom back in, add a tactical cam, because why? Pausing the game. You hit control to pause the game, or you can hit this funky button in the middle here that has the hourglass on it. Ooh, special. So, you can switch between characters by pausing the game and then telling them to do something special. My husband just turned on a light so that maybe you can see my nose that really exists, so thanks, husband, turning on the light. Alright, we're gonna have Varric focus on one of these wraiths, so please kill that Varric. Everybody else knows what to do because they're smart. You'll notice there's this cool little bar above everybody's health bar. That's a barrier. That's a mage spell, and whenever your characters are within range, they can cast barrier and it'll affect anybody nearby. So, cool stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and kill things. Woohoo! And I'm gonna hang out and keep trying to move around because I forget that I can. And even the warrior moves are really cool in this game. I have to hand it to them. They did a good job. If you accidentally hit the auto attack button when there's nothing to attack, you're just gonna randomly start shooting or trying to hit something. That's pretty funny because it gets all of your party members all riled up. Oops, tactical camo. And they immediately start casting buffs and stuff and getting ready. It's hilarious. So, there we go. You can also turn on friendly fire, which is kind of sad because people like me don't aim very well and you'd be beating up that poor elf
Are
I
you innocent?
don't remember what happened.
That'll get you every time. Should have spun a story.
That's what you would have done.
It's more believable and less prone to result in premature execution.
The only other big feedback on combat that I've seen from folks, sometimes they feel like it's a little laggy. Say they hit a button and nothing happens for a few seconds. I can see that. That happens a lot more with my archer. So you'll end up spamming the button a few times, then you're going, why didn't you do this? No. Long as stuff dies, it's all good.
She's resourceful, Seeker.
We will see for ourselves at the forward camp. We're almost there.
There's a lot of party banter all the time throughout the game. A lot of people just adored that in the first game, Dragon Age Origins, and they really kept it.
We must seal it! Quickly! They keep coming! Help us!
Alright, so this is going to demonstrate one of the main abilities that you have in the game, which is adjusting, closing, disrupting these rifts. You literally just right-click on them. And boom! It's pretty cool animation. And yay, I've leveled up.
The rift is gone. Open the gate.
Right away, Lady Cassandra.
We're clear for the moment. Well done.
Alright, so to level up, you go to the menu for your persona. In here you can pick between different specializations what you want to do. In this case, I'm going to go with lightning because it's cool. And it's going to tell you you can hit anything in blue. There's lots and lots of tooltips. You can figure it out. Everybody's a big kid now. Alright, this one's fun. That one's fun. Ta-da! Okay. And you'll notice it'll auto-populate your hotbar with new abilities that you pick up. You can adjust where things are on your hotbar by going to Tactics. There we go. Everything that you can do is going to be listed under Tactics, and you only have 8 buttons in which to do it, so pick wisely. At some point you will have more abilities than you have buttons. It is what it is. Alright, and I'm getting a question, how is the game? The game is absolutely stunningly beautiful. The storyline is extremely engaging, and combat's pretty darn fun, except when you use the tactical camera, because I just don't like it. Alright, throughout the game you're going to see these supply catches. You can grab more potions if you've been using them. I don't need more because I haven't been using them. Woohoo!
Ah, here they come.
You made it. Chancellor Roderick, this is...
I know who she is. As Grand Chancellor of the Chantry, I hereby order you to take this criminal to Val Royeaux to face execution.
Order me? You are a glorified clerk, a bureaucrat.
And you are a thug, but a thug who supposedly serves the Chantry.
We serve the most holy, Chancellor. As you well know.
Justinia is dead! We must elect a replacement and obey her orders on the matter.
Alright, so again, lots of dialogue choices. This one sounds the most cranky to me, and they're just talking around my character, so...
Don't talk about me like I'm not here.
You shouldn't even be here! Call a retreat, Seeker. Our position here is hopeless.
We can stop this before it's too late.
How? You won't survive long enough to reach the temple, even with all your soldiers.
We must get to the temple. It's the quickest route.
But not the safest. Our forces can charge as a distraction while we go through the mountains.
We lost contact with an entire squad on that path. It's too risky.
Listen to me. Abandon this now, before more lives are lost.
How do you think we should proceed?
First playthrough I was surprised that she even bothered to ask, so...
Now you're asking me what I think.
You have the mark.
And you are the one we must keep alive. Since we cannot agree on our own.
They usually give you good explanations. Alright, in this case, this literally affects what you do next and how you get to your next step. So, you get a lot of choices like this throughout the game, which is pretty neat. So you can either charge with the soldiers, or you can take this little back path. I think the path is pretty cool, so we're gonna do that.
Use the mountain path. Work together. You all know what's at stake.
Liliana, bring everyone left in the valley. Everyone.
On your head be the consequences, Seeker.
Alright, we've got a question regarding items and what kind of sweet gear you can get, and can you become super strong. Really it depends on how you put your character together, just abilities-wise. So, like I've mentioned, my main character that I've been playing through with is an elf archer. I've crafted both her armor and her weapons, and I've modified it as I've gone along as best I can. And when you have the option to craft the next tier up, I suggest you do it. Because it will make a big difference. As you're questing, you'll get lots of drops that are really cool for crafting, and some of them will be more rare than others. So be on the lookout for what's helpful for you. Really, really read before you craft an item.
Ahead. The path to the temple lies just beyond it.
What manner of tunnel is this? A mine?
Part of an old mining complex. These mountains are full of such paths.
And your missing soldiers are in there somewhere?
Along with whatever has detained them.
We shall see soon enough.
One thing I didn't know, first playthrough for a really long time, and it made me feel stupid later, you can just right-click on a ladder to go up. I had been right-clicking on the ladder to go up, and then I had continued to press up because I thought I had to actually go up the ladder. So don't do that, just click it when and if you play the game. Alright, you won't actually hit things if you can't see it, so I need to move. Party tactics in the game are pretty darn smart just to start off with. You'll notice that at the beginning of every fight, Cassandra gets this cool silver set of bars. over her health bar. That's called guard. Guard basically absorbs attacks and can be broken down over time, but that's a really cool way to not die right off. You'll also again notice the blue bar from Solus. That is the barrier spell, which is again kind of a shield. You'll notice I'm walking through here hitting V. When you play the game, you're probably, if you're a big old I need all the loot person like I am, gonna get really twitchy and start hitting V all the darn time so that you get all your stuff. Not sure if you're hearing it very well, but it makes a little binging noise when you can interact with something or pick something up. So I missed something back here, as you can see. Ooh, here's stuff. Nifty. You can light torches so that you can actually see what you're doing, and then there are big old boxes and things to open. You will come across items that you cannot open unless you're a rogue of some sort, either the archer or the standard dual-wielding rogue. So it's nice to have one of everything whenever you go places. I've seen different discussions about best party makeup. I've seen it suggested to have 2 warriors so that your tanking is definitely taken care of, and then 2 DPS. I most frequently play the archer with either 2 mages and then a warrior, or one of the other rogues and a warrior. And it seems to work fine for me. I just prefer to kill stuff before it kills me. Alright, so you'll notice I'm getting beat up. The warrior automatically comes by to taunt the big mob that's trying to beat me up because I'm a squishy, which is pretty cool. So she's got that under control. I'm going to switch over to the Wraith. Off we go. And things are dead. I get a kick out of the loot from the demons and wraiths. It's this little pile of squishy demon guts or something. So there we go. Gonna go through and make sure I got all the stuff. Ooh, no, I did not get all the stuff. Alright, blue vitriol. This is an example of crafting material. So you can see exactly what this material will do when you craft it into something. If it's used in a primary slot, it will either give a relatively low armor rating or a low damage rating. And if you're making a staff, it will make it cold damage. Utility obviously affects your stats, so in this case it's strength. The offensive slot, 1% chance to stagger a target on hit, and a defensive slot means that it'll give a 1% chance to stagger an attacker on being hit. So, cool. Start in the stash. You'll find that you get literally hundreds of things to use for crafting. Hundreds. Hundreds.
Guess we found the soldiers.
That cannot be all of them.
So the others could be holed up ahead.
Our priority must be the breach. Unless we seal it soon, no one is safe.
I'm leaving that to the lady with the glowing hand.
Alright, so we have another rift up ahead. You're gonna see these throughout the game. As you can tell, big green hole in the sky means huge, huge, huge plot point for the whole game. You're gonna have lots of little green holes to take care of as you go through. And they're all pretty neat. You'll notice right now I can disrupt the rift. If I were to do that, it would cause an AoE stun to all of the demons around. Typically you have multiple waves of demons. I'm gonna try to disrupt this one. Often you get interrupted. Demons will hit you and you don't get to do what you want to do. Alright, so you can see that they're stunned. Now you can beat them to a pulp a little more effectively and finally close the rift.
Sealed, as before. You are becoming quite proficient at this.
Let's hope it works on the big one.
Thank the Maker you finally arrived, Lady Cassandra. I don't think we could have held out much longer.
Thank our prisoner, Lieutenant. She insisted we come this way.
The prisoner? Then you...
Well, yay, she was right.
It was worth saving you, if we could.
Then you have my sincere gratitude.
The way into the valley behind us is clear for the moment. Go, while you still can.
At once.
Quickly, let's move!
The path ahead appears to be clear of demons as well.
Let's hurry before that changes.
Alright.
Down
You
the
might
ladder. That's the way to the temple.
be noticing there's lots of party banter, but what I wanted to point out was the very huge variety of different armors throughout the game, both crafted and things that you pick up. They did a really good job giving you customization options, and depending on what materials you use to make armor, you'll have different appearance for that armor. You'll notice the same for your weapons, so it's pretty sweet that you can customize down to the color of little accents, so really cool. Had a question about what I'm playing. Is there a sorcerer or something? And you like the necromancer and magic class. There are specializations within the game, including a necromancer tree. So once you hit an appropriate level, yes, you can hit that, and you'll find skills along the lines of typical necromantic abilities. It's really cool. So in this case, we've picked up some new stuff. You'll notice when you open your inventory, there will be a little star that's blinking when you have new stuff to look at. So I'm going to go through and see if anybody needs an upgrade to something they've got. Currently I'm using this stuff. There's nothing new for my main character to use. Let's check out Cassandra. She is sword and shield. In this case, we've picked up a better shield for her, so I'm going to change out her shield. She's using an Inquisition longsword, and that's her only option right now. Cool. Solus, we don't have anything different for him either. He's another mage. And I'm certainly not taking Bianca away from Varric, so let's look at armor for everybody. We've got a fire resistance cowl. And Varric is wearing a scout coat. Not very fancy. Well, everybody worries about their PC first, so let's check out what we could put on her head. That's really nice, but you'll notice in red text the requirement for being level 6, so I can't use it yet because I'm only level 2. I'm still a baby. So, gonna back it up. And go back to the game. Alright, not seeing any loot. Looks like something, but it's not really there. This is why the V button is really handy, which is that little circle that emanates out from my character repeatedly. It shows you things that you can interact with or pick up. I really like the animation for climbing down ladders, so check this out. If I don't fall off, there we go. They make it really quick, which is just sweet. Woo! So, cool. You can take falling damage, so don't jump off stuff.
If enough magic is brought to bear, it is possible.
But there are easier ways to make things explode.
That is true.
We will consider how this happened once the immediate danger is past.
Alright, I'm gonna give you a spoiler here for people who don't like general wanton death and destruction and really horrible corpses and stuff. You might want to, like, I don't know, cover your eyes for a couple minutes because this is depressing, at least to me.
The Temple of Sacred Ashes.
What's left of it?
That is where you walked out of the Fade, and our soldiers found you. They say a woman was in the rift behind you. No one knows who she was.
Alright, so for anybody who has missed the backstory as to why there's this really big hole in the sky and why this is a big catastrophe, following the events at Kirkwall in Dragon Age 2, which sparked the Mage Rebellion, the Templar Order officially disbanded the Circle, so they are no longer considered a social construct. The Templars have said, forget this, I'm done. And now every single mage out there is considered an apostate, which means they are not part of the Circle, they are not under the rule of the Chantry, and they're all suspects, period. The event that took place here was a huge bomb went off at the Temple of Sacred Ashes during a big conclave in which the Templars, mages, and the Chantry were trying to get together and have a treaty of some sort and say, let's work this out. What everybody keeps referencing, the Divine Justinia, she is the head of the Chantry, she is dead. And Cassandra is really bummed about that because she directly worked for her and she likes her a lot. And we have a good question. Is that temple the same one from Dragon Age Origins where you get the urn? Yeah, it is. And you see what happened to it. It's really, really a bummer. So we're going to keep going. It is sad. Fair warning, spoiler, it's sad, because it's gone.
You're here. Thank the Maker.
Leliana, have your men take up positions around the temple. This is your chance to end this. Are you ready?
I'll try, but I don't know if I can reach that, much less close it.
No. This rift was the first, and it is the key. Seal it, and perhaps we seal the breach.
Then let's find a way down. And be careful.
Alright, before I keep going, we had a question as to when I typically play.
The power of our victory. Bring forth the sacrifice.
What are we hearing?
At a guess, the person who created the breach.
And I'm going to be interrupted often through this because it's a very cinematic event. I'll probably do this every Thursday at about the same time. So I'll start, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And I'll keep this character for this purpose, or at least a character that'll kind of go in an effective timeline. There's a lot of filler in this game. There are literally hundreds of hours of gameplay, but a lot of it is your standard questing. So I would prefer to show you guys what actually happens in the main plot lines and what affects the world at large, as opposed to, hey, I have lost my cow. Could you please go find my cow in this weird ravine that walks at the pace of a geriatric person? So I'm not going to put you through that. I'm going to try to get you to points where the story has big effects. And when I can, I'll do a replay and show you what else you could have done. I might not make this every week. Life gets busy randomly for me, but I will announce it when I don't. So plan to tune in if you're interested in this particular game, which, like I said, the story is really cool. I'm going to continue on at this point. Looks like I've answered questions. I think I have. If you have more questions, just hit me up. I've got about a half hour before our next stream starts, so if you have questions about what we've done so far, the classes, customization, if you want me to go back into the character creator, I can. You can make dwarves, elves, humans, or Qunari, which is pretty cool. I haven't really played with the Qunari, but I'm happy to show that to you if you would like. For now, I'm going to keep going because this is really nifty. I'm going to take a second, though, to look around and show you what's going on here. So, this was the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and you can see that something bad went down, and there's a rift in the middle. That was a huge, beautiful statue, and now it's all freaky and gravity isn't working anymore. That would be because of that big old hole in the sky. So, stuff's on fire, things have melted, people are now horrible, burned up corpses. It's sad, and I'm going to shush because you're going to hear a lot of chatter from characters in here. So, enjoy.
You know this stuff is red lyrium, Seeker.
I see it, Varric.
But what's it doing here?
Magic could have drawn on lyrium beneath the temple, corrupted it.
It's evil. Whatever you do, don't touch it.
Keep the sacrifice still.
Someone help me! That is divine Justinia's voice.
I just think this thing's really cool to look at. They did a good job with it.
What's going on here?
That was your voice. Most Holy called out to you, but...
What's going on here?
Run when you can! Hold them!
We have an intruder. Kill her, now.
You were there! Who attacked? And the Divine, is she... Was this vision true? What are we seeing?
I don't remember.
Echoes of what happened here. The Fade bleeds into this place. This rift is not sealed, but it is closed, albeit temporarily. I believe that with the mark, the rift can be opened, and then sealed properly and safely. However, opening the rift will likely attract attention from the other side.
That means demons! Stand ready!
Alright, I'm gonna pause this for a second. Those of you who played Origins, and I'm guessing also in Dragon Age 2, know that this big angry thing is really, really, really bad news. Demons come out of the Fade, and they have interesting abilities. Typically, they're just really, really big hit points, and often have stuns and things like that. This particular fight is the mini-boss at the end of the introductory sequence, and it's going to show you a little bit more of how you can interact with rifts during a fight to truly affect the outcome. This is going to be a long one, so get comfy. Okay, I'm going to pause it again. You'll notice that this demon, just like Cassandra, has a guard up. You have to get through the guard before you can actually start affecting his health bar. So you have to do lots and lots and lots of damage to get the guard down before you can officially beat his socks off. And those of you who played Origins remember Liliana and her nifty outfit. Go Liliana shooting stuff again. Woohoo.
We must strip its defenses. Wear it down.
Alright, so we're not doing diddly to this dude. He's pretty much immune. At this point, I'm going to disrupt the rift.
Quickly, disrupt the rift.
Oh, okay, I was a little ahead of her there, but anyway, now we can beat up the Pride Demon. And we're gonna do that. You'll notice I can't keep casting stuff. I have to wait for my mana to come back. Bummer. Now, unfortunately, this tactic only works for a while. He's gonna get his guard back, and then I'm gonna have to disrupt the rift again. But he's gonna have buddies. There he goes. Alright. So, he's got friends that I need to kill. We're just gonna have to deal with him hanging around, beating people with his little angry electric ball. Alright. And you'll notice Solus, like a wonderful mage, hits his barrier for everybody so they don't die. I'm gonna try to disrupt the rift. It's really hard to target this sucker. There we go. Oh, Solus died. Bummer. Alright. If one of your companions dies in combat, you just go to somebody who's near them, or you move yourself, and then you right-click on them and hold it. So Varric's gonna help Solus get up, because we would like him to come and help beat up people. Alright, he's back up and fighting. Woohoo! That was easy. Everybody beat the demon! Alright, and because Solus doesn't have his barrier up, it's a really good time for him to hit health potion so that he doesn't die again. Okay. Alright, you'll notice my character's kind of hit, so I'm going to have her hit a health potion. Alright, I gotta disrupt this again so that we can hit him. But I might be interrupted, just like I was, because he's right there, and he has cronies now. So now we need to kill the posse. Cassandra's being an awesome tank and trying to get everybody's attention. Alright, let's try to disrupt this sucker again. Uh-oh, still got a friend on me. There we go. Alright. Now, on harder combat settings, obviously this takes longer. You get hit harder, this would be a much longer fight. And we wouldn't just be staring at a demon's butt while he walks around and is like, oh, it's cool, you just beat me up, sweet. I really want one of those whips though, that's pretty awesome. Sorry, Varric. Alright, let's just kill this dude. There we go.
Now, seal the rift.
Yeah, I hear you, Cassie, but, you know, loot, so I'm gonna get that. Demon scales. Nifty item for crafting. So I'm gonna seal this.
Do it.
Alright, so we sealed a really big rift. Woohoo! And that pretty much covers the tutorial of the game. Now we get into the actual gameplay and a lot more free-for-all.
Oh! I didn't know you were awake, I swear.
Why are you frightened? What happened?
That's wrong, isn't it? I said the wrong thing.
I don't think so.
I beg your forgiveness and your blessing. I am but a humble servant. You are back in Haven, my lady. They say you saved us. The breach stopped growing, just like the mark on your hand. It's all anyone has talked about for the last 3 days.
Then the danger is over.
The breach is still in the sky, but that's what they say. I'm certain Lady Cassandra would want to know you've wakened. She said, at once.
And where is she?
In the Chantry, with the Lord Chancellor. At once, she said.
Poor little elf chick, apparently the PC is really scary. Alright, so more stuff to loot. Elf fruit is something you will need all the time for lots of things. I suggest you just pick up the elf fruit when you go to play the game. Reconcile yourself to always picking up weeds. There is lots and lots and lots and lots of text in the game. In this case, this is obviously a log of whomever was treating your PC, noting what was going on and how you were responding or not responding to treatment. Apparently, it was kind of iffy. Special shipments. If you pre-order the game, you get nifty armor of the dragon, and a staff of the dragon. So I'm going to go ahead and equip these because they're sweet looking. And again, really clunky menu, but that is what it is. So, armor of the dragon. Look at that. Cool. And off we go. Just so that everybody kind of knows where in the world you are in the Dragon Age universe, you'll remember in Origins that you traveled to this itty-bitty little town called Haven. There were cultists there, and they were very angry people. They were guarding the Temple of Sacred Ashes. You pretty much had to cut your way through them to finally get to the temple. At the temple, you had to take out a dragon, and you could either choose to defile the ashes or not, and get the Reaver specialization or not from the remaining cultists at the temple. You made a lot of people in your party angry if you defiled the ashes, so there you go. Just a friendly reminder of what happened. I know when I first played this, I was going, what are these people doing? For serious, what are you doing, guys? So, while the Temple of Sacred Ashes is now poof due to the big green bomb, Haven's still here.
Stop the breach from getting any bigger.
And that's where you are. So everybody said go up to the temple.
The Chantry wants nothing to do with us.
It's really pretty. A lot of people will want to explore a whole lot. You have time to do that after this intro sequence, so suffice it to say you can loot the whole temple and it's pretty funny. You can also come back and read that. You can check out all these doors and things, but you'll notice on the mini-map, go here.
To be tried by whomever becomes divine.
I do not believe she is guilty.
The prisoner failed, Seeker. The breach is still in the sky. For all you know, she intended it this way.
I do not believe that.
That is not for you to decide. Your duty is to serve the Chantry.
My duty is to serve the principles on which the Chantry was founded, Chancellor, as is yours.
Alright, so you're hearing and just heard a conversation between Cassandra, the Seeker that you met in Dragon Age 2, and I think his name is Roderick, one of the still living Chantry priests. Obviously, he really doesn't like the PC. Cassandra thinks otherwise. Just so that you know who the heck a Seeker is and what Cassandra's supposed to do. The Seekers are an order within the Chantry hierarchy, and the way a lot of people kind of describe them is kind of like the CIA versus the police. So if Templars were the police, then Seekers could be the CIA. They have different abilities from Templars. They're often specialized, and in Cassandra's case, she worked directly with the head of the Chantry itself. Just to give you some background about where these people are coming from, because it isn't always explained in the game very well.
Chain her! I want her prepared for travel to the capital for trial.
Disregard that and leave us.
You walk a dangerous line, Seeker.
The breach is stable, but it is still a threat. I will not ignore it.
So I'm still a suspect, even after what we just did?
You absolutely are.
No, she is not.
Someone was behind the explosion at the Conclave. Someone most holy did not expect. Perhaps they died with the others, or have allies who yet live.
I am a suspect?
You, and many others.
But not the prisoner.
I heard the voices in the temple. The Divine called to her for help.
So her survival, that thing on her hand, all a coincidence?
Providence. The Maker sent her to us in our darkest hour.
Alright, you can kind of start a sequence of events at this point in the game. You can either indicate that your character is very religious, or not religious at all, or generally pragmatic, whatever. Obviously, on the character that I've been playing, the Daily Shelf, not religious man, but because I'm curious, I'm going to go with the religious answer of blessed be the Maker.
Though all before me is shadow, yet shall the Maker be my guide.
We lost everything then. Out of nowhere, you came.
The breach remains, and your mark is still our only hope of closing it.
This is not for you to decide.
You know what this is, Chancellor. A writ from the Divine, granting us the authority to act. As of this moment, I declare the Inquisition reborn. We will close the breach, we will find those responsible, and we will restore order with or without your approval.
This is the Divine's directive. Rebuild the Inquisition of old. Find those who will stand against the chaos. We aren't ready. We have no leader, no numbers. And now, no Chantry support.
But we have no choice. We must act now, with you at our side.
What is the Inquisition of old, exactly?
It preceded the Chantry. People who banded together to restore order in a world gone mad.
After, they laid down their banner and formed the Templar Order, but the Templars have lost their way. We need those who can do what must be done, united under a single banner once more.
But aren't you still part of the Chantry?
Is that what you see?
The Chantry will take time to find a new Divine. And then it will wait for her direction.
But we cannot wait. So many Grand Clerics died at the Conclave. No, we are on our own. Perhaps forever.
You're trying to start a holy war.
We are already at war. You are already involved. Its mark is upon you. As to whether the war is holy, that depends on what we discover.
What if I refuse?
You can go if you wish.
You should know that while some believe you chosen, many still think you guilty. The Inquisition can only protect you if you are with us.
We can also help you.
It will not be easy if you stay. But you cannot pretend this has not changed you.
Well, you don't really have a choice to not do this. And I find it kind of interesting that here's what you do. But, I think most people's reaction would be, this is weird.
When I woke up, I certainly didn't picture this outcome.
Neither did we.
Help us fix this before it's too late.
Alright, so that's the beginning of Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm probably gonna call it a night at this point because I admit I'm getting a little sleepy. It's about 11 o'clock my time. But at this point in the game, you are now free to wander around Haven. You have a really cool staff to check out. If you'd pre-ordered, and check out the spike on the bottom of that thing, that's nifty. You can hit the Chantry and start talking to people that you haven't met quite yet, or just go around town and pick up some quests. It's a really involved and long plot, I think, and is really fun. So if you have any questions at this point, please hit me up. And there's a good point about body language. There isn't a whole lot of body language, you're right. But overall they do a good job. You see a lot of influences from BioWare games up to this point, I think. The banter was such a big hit in Origins, and they try to continue it excessively in this game, and I love it. Every single companion character has background that you can talk to them about. And I'm just going to run you around Haven for a minute and just check out the town because it's neat. It's not how I remember it from Origins, obviously. And there's Varric. You can go chat with him, and next playthrough I will come up and talk to him. There's a bar right here, and it's got some cool wolf statues to check out. And there's literally a bar. You can talk to the bartender and see what's going on there. And just the fire in this game is really sweet. And you'll notice it was affected by the door opening, and the wind made it blow a certain way. Lots of places to explore. You can go in just about every single building, which is pretty cool. There's lots of things to loot, so you can pick the town over. You can go outside the town and check things out, so we're going to run that way for a minute and show that off. You'll notice you're leaving footprints in the snow. It's incredibly detailed. You can buy and sell. That menu is just as clunky as your inventory menu. Go surprise, but you get used to it. Here's one of my favorite areas in Haven, the training grounds. Just the animations are really, really sweet. So you can see your guys preparing for war, and see them getting all ready to do whatever the Inquisition does. I'm going to expound upon that a little bit more next week when I play some more. In the meantime, if you're thinking about getting the game, I hope this has shown you a little taste of what you can expect and just how fun it is. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You can hit follow right there. We do have a giveaway once we hit 1,700 followers, so the more we have, the better it gets and closer we get to that giveaway. Please give us a follow on Twitter at Grievance Gaming. If you're interested in Grievance Guilds and MMOs and other games, you can find us at www.grievancegaming.org. And our videos on Twitch are uploaded to our YouTube channel, so look at us there at Grievance Gaming. So thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out Dragon Age. Again, it's a really cool game. I'll look forward to playing next week. And if you have anything you'd especially like to see, you can find me on Twitter at Liette_G3. So hit me up. Let me know what you'd like to see, if you'd like to see anything special. Otherwise, tell me next stream. And everybody have a good night. Stay tuned to watch Dash doing some streaming. I apologize, I forget what he's going to be playing, but it will be cool. Dash does an amazing job. So have fun. And everybody have a good night. Thank you for tuning in.